Hi everyone, I'm Erin Dolan and you are watching Newsfeed. Today I'm here with two CSG presidential and vice presidential candidates from the Amplify Party. I'm here with Sujay Shetty, you're running for president, and Matt Williams for vice president. And we're just going to talk to them a little bit about their campaign platforms and why you should vote for them and the Amplify Party. So if you guys could tell me what are some of your most important campaign platforms.
Sure. So our platform is divided into three main areas. So the first area is breaking down barriers, which is we really seek to break down barriers that prevent students from being successful here, from even attending here, and from thriving here. So that's the first section of the platform. The next section is Unite and Empower. It's been a very divisive last few years, honestly, if we're being quite frank, and there's lots of coalition building that needs to be done. And the third section is to build the future. So after we break down barriers, unite and empower, we want to build a future mission that we can all be proud of. So those are the main sections.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really what we're trying to do is just to give those communities on campus that we care about, and we've been here long enough to care about a lot of the communities, a voice and a central student government that they can be proud of.
Yeah.
So how do you think you're going to give these people a voice? What are some individual plans that you have?
Sure. So one of the many things that prevents students from being fully engaged on this campus is that there are issues with funding student orgs. Like we have right now what's been some people describe as a funding crisis for student org involvement. And we plan on working around restructuring tuition fees and making it a more transparent process, which includes making the board of working with the Board of Regents and executive officers so that these proposals for tuition increases are actually made public much more ahead of time. So that way we can get into the weeds of things and look at how we can really restructure that and also comment on it. And there's more accountability there too. So that is one way that we think we can break down a barrier to student engagement and give students a voice on this campus. So that's something that I'm personally very excited about.
Yeah, and a huge part of that is simply reforming our funding structures to give priorities to some of the things that matter. This is particularly important, as Sujay mentioned. We're in something of an uncertain world right now, and that means we need to prioritize those cultural pieces, those diversity pieces, those components of student programming that impact the university in the most positive way. And I'll be honest, our resources are finite. We think we can find some definite ways to kind of find efficiencies and expand those resources. But in a world where the resources are finite, shouldn't they be focused on what matters the most?
That sounds like a very cohesive plan that you guys have. Now, how did you guys get together as vice president and president? How did you form your team?
Sure.
And what makes each of you qualified to run for your position?
Sure.
Well, I happen to know Sujay back when he was a young whippersnapper. His freshman year, I was an RA in the Michigan research community for quite some time. And as the years went on, I went off to law school. This is my first year there, and I kept in touch. And Sujay approached me this semester about his interest in going for a campaign, and I was happy to help out. I knew him well enough to know that he was serious about it, and I knew that he could do some good. And if any way I could be a part of that was important to me. As far as what makes me qualified for this position, who can say about the people whether or not I'm qualified, but I do have a unique perspective. I think as a graduate student, the only graduate student running right now, or well, at all, I think I can provide perhaps a little bit of a more mature worldview. I also know what it's like to be a working student. I supported myself through the university. I was blessed to receive some financial aid, but I know what it's like to work 20, 30 hours a week and still have class in the morning. And I think that level of perspective can kind of directly apply to being somebody who can listen to the needs of our students. That and my own personal facets of my identity, my background, kind of help inform my decisions. And I think as a CSV VP, hopefully I can provide a little counsel that can be valuable.
Awesome. Sure. What about you, Sujay?
And I think that a lot of my personal experience kind of complement those in a way. So I've been very involved in student government since my freshman year. I started off at the very local level, representing Mojo to the Residence Hall Association as an RHA rep, and then I moved up from there. At the end of my freshman year, I helped negotiate room and board rates for our next year's students. And so we're talking, and I did that 2 years in a row, and I became the president of the Residence Hall Association. So we, at the end of the day, we ended up negotiating budget increases that had about $6 million at stake. And so I've been able to understand the nuances behind many decisions that these executive officers at the university make. And the year after that, I joined CSG. I was lucky enough to be taken on as chief of staff to the current student body president, which I served, a role which I served for the first semester this year. And so I really got to see what the president really does, and I had the ability to advise her on many of the decisions that she made, and also I've had time to reflect on that now. And I think that all these experiences put together, along with the great experience that Matt brings to the board, makes us a very competitive ticket.
That sounds like you guys both have a lot of really good, relevant experience. But there's so many other parties out there.
Sure.
So why should people vote for you guys, and why should people vote for Amplify?
Sure.
I think there's a lot of parties out there, and they will tell students what they think they want them to hear. They will give them promises that, frankly, can't always be kept. The difference is Amplify will give you a way to do it. And a key component, I think the foundational component of our campaign, is to approach things with honesty. Like, if we can't do something, we'll be honest about the fact that we can't do it. And if we can do it, we'll tell you how we plan to do it. And in this kind of scheme of puffery with 7 separate candidates, that narrative can be lost. But I can tell our student body that whoever they vote for, they want somebody who will champion their causes, who will speak the truth to them, and won't shy down from the tough issues. And it sounds a little played out sometimes, but I think if you look at our platform, that's amplifymichigan.org, you'll see that that runs through as a dominant strain.
And what about you?
Like Matt said, we've taken a lot of care into putting together a platform. We had our policy team look through every single point and have a plan to actually get that done if we were to get elected. And it's a lot of meticulous planning. We've done our homework, and and I think one of the big things is that our skills really do complement each other. There's a misconception that can be found throughout student government that student leadership is unique to student government. That's not true. Student leadership can be found throughout many facets of this university, and that's a great example of that is Matt, who's my running mate. But then it can also be found within student government, and that's I guess those are the skills that I particularly bring to the table of having been there, done that, know like what the executive officers do, say, think, and care about. Know what same thing with the regents, and that's very important to have as well. So I think we're a very complementary pair, and that makes us once again like a very competitive ticket. And our platform really does take into account all the different nuances that are present, and that's very, very important. And we've taken great care to reach out to many communities on this campus. We continue to do so. We still have a few days of campaigning left.
Things to do tonight.
Things to do tonight.
Never ends.
And we look forward to it. It's been a great time. Worst case scenario, we both know a lot of people next year. So
I think our ticket balances that experience well with the practical experience of knowing what the student experience really is like. And I will say this, that no matter how our campaign turns out, I know Sujay and I know I'm committed to trying to continue to champion those voices and those causes that we've heard so many people be so passionate about. We owe them at least that.
That's awesome, trying to amplify the voices, and that goes really well with the name of your party.
Yep.
We like to think so.
And to end on a little bit of a lighter note,
Sure.
So you know how in the ugly during finals there's therapy dogs that come. So if you could be a breed of those therapy dogs, which one would you be and why?
That's a tough one.
Wow.
Well, it's funny. I'm actually allergic to golden retrievers, so I would love to be one of those, but I think the allergies might act up. I have a beautiful golden doodle named Milo. He's like one of these rare black golden doodles, and that's my dog. And if I was going to be a dog, that's what I would be.
And allergy-free.
And allergy-free.
Hypoallergenic.
I won't be sneezing at myself.
Exactly. What about you?
I think I'd be a pug, and the only reason I say that is because my mom loves pugs. I've been trying to convince my parents has to have a dog for the longest amount of time possible. So I think I can make some progress with pugs. So I think that'll be my breed of choice for sure.
Well, it's always good to be invited back home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So anything else you guys want to share? Your links to your website, social platforms?
Yeah, all the details about our campaign can be found on amplifymichigan.org. We have a Facebook page. Just search Amplify, and that should bring it up. And we really are open to the comments of the community. So and if any of your viewers want to reach out, the contact information is up there. We'll be happy to respond or try and work their ideas into some of the things that we champion.
Definitely.
Okay, awesome. And voting is the 20th and the 21st.
21st and the 22nd.
21st and the 22nd. Make sure to get a vote. You'll be getting an email from the University of Michigan, and if you want to check out Amplify, the amplify.org.
AmplifyMichigan.org.
AmplifyMichigan.org. And thank you guys so much for coming, and you're watching Wolf TV.